Hey there, I'm doing this video to go over step-by-step instructions of ScreenFlow in Salesforce. As you know, we do have two different flows in Salesforce. One is ScreenFlow and another one is Auto Launch Flow. So in this video, I'm just going over the ScreenFlow. So by end of this video, you will be able to create a ScreenFlow even though if you don't created anything in the past. So what is Flow? So it is just a powerful business automation tool and it is easy to create. And one of the good advantage is we don't need to do any coding. So anyone can create this flow. So what we can do with this flow? We can create, update, delete any Salesforce records. So along with this three actions, we can do 11 other actions which we have limitations in process builder. So that's why flow is one of the powerful tool uh, in Salesforce. So here, yeah, it is two types of flow. One is screen flow and another one is auto launch flow. So here I am just going with a simple requirement, uh, creating a screen flow to display the name of logged in user with some greetings message. So from here, I'm going to create a flow for our requirement. So I am in a flow screen where I'm going to create a new flow. Okay. Yep. So we are seeing the types of flow available. So for our requirement, I'm choosing the screen flow. Yeah, we are in the canvas page of flow builder. So here for our requirement, we need to just display a welcome message, some greetings message. So I have dragged a screen option for this. So here I have to just display a text. So here you write hello and we need to get the name right. Okay. Nice. So here to get a name, you can select a resource from here. So anything, if you see, if I just click the resource and I'm getting this pop-up, and anything with the dollar symbol, it's a global variable. So you can get the data from here by just choosing the correct option. So for us, we need to display a username. So if you see here, it is not displaying any name, it's just giving ID, time, and the date, but not the name. So to get the name from the user object, we have to create a formula field on the fly. So I'm just creating a new resource. The resource is a formula. Like we have to get the user ID from the user object to display in our flow. So I'm creating a formula, give API name, okay, get logged in username, and the data type is text, since the username will be the text, and the formula. So here, if you see, we are seeing the user global variable. So if I select this, you will see all the fields that is available in the user object. So I'm just selecting a first name and I'm done here. So it will look like this. So it is my variable name. So in this variable name, I'm going to get the logged in username from the user object, and it will display this message. So for this, I say just giving the API name. And here we need not to have header and footer for this requirement. In some other requirement, we do need that, but for this, we don't need to have any header and footer. So I'm just removing it. I have to give a name for this flow, saying this is a welcome screen, and done. So I saved it. That's all. It's simple. So yeah, here you have to just drag it from start where the flow has to go to execute this flow. So I just dragged it to the screen that we have created, and I'm saving this flow. Just give a proper description so that you will be so in future you might have different versions for the same flow. So based on the description, you will be able to identify what exact changes that you have did on the particular version. So it will be very useful to for your history tracking. So I'm just saying, okay, user name, save, and ignore the warnings and activate from here. So it is activated now, but we have to display in any of the object, right? So I am in the accounts object. I'm going to edit this page. So basically, I am adding this flow in the lightning component. So here, have to choose where we need to display this. Okay, I'm just adding my flow here. So here, if you see, the flow that we have created automatically came. So here only the screen flow will be available automatically. So if it is auto launch flow, it has to be, like it is dependent on any actions that you are doing. So if some triggers has to happen, so that will not be available in the flow screen of the lightning record page. So only the screen flow will be available. So it is there, and I'm saving it. It's saved. So I'm going back here. In that, I haven't provided any conditions, so it should automatically came. So if you see here, it's displaying now. So that is the first exercise. Maybe you can play around that with this, like you can add some colors, and you can add different text, or you can increase the font. So you can play around with that. So in our second requirement, we are going to create a new screen flow to get the inputs from the user, like first name, last name, and the email. And we are going to create a quick contact. So once we get the input from the user, so for that, we have to go to a flow page again, and I'm going to create a new screen flow. I'm selecting a new screen flow, creating it. And to get the data from the user, we have to add the screen. So I'm adding the screen. So this is the label that will be displayed in the screen. So this kind of form, I'm just giving the name as contact form. and we have to get the data here from the user. I'm adding a text. So we need three data: first name, last name, and the email. So here I'm adding this as a first name, and this is last name, and this as a email. See here, you can make anything as a mandatory here so that it will be displayed as mandatory symbol. And we need not to have this buttons past, previous, and finish. So even though we do have some action button should be there, but let me remove this header buttons. So we need not to have previous and past. We still need finish button. Let me come back to this later. So here we have created a screen to get the data from the user. So let's save it and check. Let's say quick contact. So I'm saving it and I'm activating it, and I'm going to add this in this lightning record page. I'm here. I'm going to add a flow here. Say, so it should automatically display. Yeah, as I said earlier, it will just display whatever the flows that we have, like whatever the screen flows that we have created. So for this, we need to add the quick contact. That is it. Save and go back. So it should display the flow here. Yep. So it is there. And enter some data. If you say finish, just it will clear the value, but no contacts has been added. Just we have the default contact. So we have to add the another logic here in our screen to create a record. So here we have the button finish. So the finish button will not add any record. So it will just get the data from the screen, and for any DML operations, we have this four actions. So here we have to create a record. So once the user enters the data and hit finish, that will pass the data whatever entered to this flow again, and here we have to create a record. So here we'll say create contact. So how many records going to create? Just one. And how to set the field records. So here we are getting the data from the previous flow screen. So all those inputs entered in the screen will be stored in the resources. So we have to choose this option for this requirement, and where we are going to create the object, this record from. It's in contact. So we have to select contact. We are doing in the account, but we are creating a contact for that account. And here is the field mapping. So in this left side, it will display the fields that are available from that contact object. So here I'm selecting the first name, and in the right side, it will display the inputs that we have provided in the previous screen. See in the screen components, you can see what are all the data that we are going to get from the screen. So here we have to map it with the first name. So by this, I am just passing the first name user entered to the first name field in the contact object. Like this, we have to add the other fields. So last name from the contact object and the last name from my screen element. And in the next field, email from the contact object and email from my screen element. So here, that is it, manually assign variables. So here we are not assigning any variables here, just we're getting the data from the screen element and passing through to the contact object. So that is it. So it is done and I'm mapping it here. I'm going to save as. So this is the new version, and the previous version we have created to get the data from the user. So this version we are going to save the record. So create a contact. So, so this description will help you to understand what changes that you did for the different versions. So that is it. We have created it and activate. So here I'm going to add the flow. So it is already there now. Just refresh it. So refresh will bring the flow, the updated flow. So here, yeah, as you see, the button changed to next. So since we have added the create action, it is automatically update the button to next. So here it is showing the label that we have provided. So here I'm giving my name. So by clicking next, it's created. Yeah. So here, if you see, it is not displaying any contacts here. Do you know why? Because we haven't mapped with this account. So contact is created here. Then we have provided the details we have provided is available here, but it is not mapped with the contact. Sorry, the account. So for that, we have to do this. To map the account with, sorry, to map the contact with the account, we have to do some changes in our flow. So I'm opening the flow that we have created. So here, open this record creation page, and we have a mapping here. So here we have to pass the account ID. So Salesforce will is having the capability of sending the account ID from the layout. Say if I'm in this account and my like my flow screen is here, and if I'm selecting next here, it can pass this account ID to the flow so that the account will be created under this sorry, the contact will be created under this account. So how can we do that? For that, we have to create, like, add another field. It is account ID. So for account ID, we have to pass the ID from the layout. For that, so we are not having any screen elements or anything. So we have to get the data from the page layout and pass it to the contact object. So how can we do that? We have to create a variable. So here we are having a resource to create, and I am selecting a variable. It is just to get the data from the layout. So it is saying, we can say record ID. We are getting the record ID from that layout, right? So I'm just saying that it's a record ID, and data type is text, And so you have to choose this one, right? So what is this available for input? So this option enable the record ID that is available to be passed to contact object. So if you're not selecting this option, then the page layout will not send the data to contact ID object, contact ID field. So here that is done. So I have added record ID. That is it. So saved. I'm saving this as a new version. So here we are mapping with account object, save and activate. That is it here. I'm refreshing the screen. So if we are adding, I say, it should add here. Let's see. What the hell happened? So the reason why it is not mapped to this account is I missed to do one config. So I'm going to edit the page and select the flow screen that we have created. So this is the quick contact flow screen. And if you see here, the record ID that we have created, so it is to get the data from here, right? So we have to check this option. So pass record ID to this variable. So this will pass the account, like from the layout, it will pass the account ID to this variable, and this variable will store it in our flow, and then it will pass to contact while at the time of contact creation. So I have to save it. So I just missed this one last time. Yeah, save it, refresh the screen, and let us create a new one. See here, that's the magic. So here now it is created uh, the new contact under the account. So it is just fetching the data from this page layout. So this ID is passing to the variable that we have created, and the account is getting created under this. Sorry, the contact is getting created under this account.